Hey guys, it's me Rebecca. So this will be the start of another weekly vlog, and before I discuss the books I've been reading, I just want to wish everyone a happy new year, as this is my first vlog that I'm filming in 2026, so not the first vlog you'll be seeing, as my last vlog was from like the week of Christmas. So anyway, the first book I am starting and finishing in 2026, as the first book I finished was The Sisters, which I started in 2025, is a sequel, a conclusion and a duology, and it's He Who Drowned the World by Charlotte Parker Chan. And this is the sequel to She Who Became the Sun, and I'm just going to give the synopsis for She Who Became the Sun, and I have it pulled up on my laptop, and it's: to possess the mandate of heaven, a female monk Zhu will do anything. I refuse to be nothing. In a famine-stricken village on a dusty yellow plain, two children are given two fates: a boy, greatness; a girl, nothingness. In certain 45, China lies under harsh Mongol rule. For the starving peasants of the Central Plains, greatness is something found only in stories. When a Shu family's eighth-born son, Shu Changba, is given a fate of greatness, everyone is mystified as to how it will come to pass. The fate of nothingness received by the family's clever and capable second daughter, on the other hand, is only as expected. When a bandit attack orphans the two children, through it is Zhu Changba who succumbs to despair and dies. Desperate to escape her own fated death, the girl uses her brother's identity to enter a monastery as a young male novice. There, propelled by her burning desire to survive, Zhu learns she is capable of doing whatever it takes, no matter how college, to stay hidden from her fate. After her sanctuary is destroyed for supporting the rebellion against Mongol rule, Zhu takes the chance to claim another future her brother's abandoned greatness. And yeah. And I am currently on page 166 of the sequel, and I probably should have done a reread of the first book, because I read it initially almost 2 years ago, so my memory is not the greatest, and I should have refreshed myself, but I didn't, so yeah. But so far I am liking it. I'm not gonna give spoilers or anything, or really, if you haven't read the first book, I say skip this video, because yeah. But we start off, I'm guessing, pretty soon after the first book ends, and we do have 4 perspectives. First is Zhu Changba, or Zhu, oh god, what was the name? Yang Chang or something of the sort. I'm so horrible with names, and they just keep referring to themselves as we get the perspectives of Orang, and who was the Enoch. I like how I couldn't remember Zhu Changba's, like, I guess, new name when it's on the back. Like, am I serious? Zhu Yanzang. Anyway, Rank, who was the rank of a previous leader, or the prince of someone, who he betrayed in the first book. We also get Biosong, who was that prince's brother, and we also follow Queen Zong, or really we just got the perspective of Queen Zong, who is the queen of the territory, and that's causing Zhu some trouble by preventing them from being able to access so they need for their army and whatnot. So, and we just see in the first part how Zhu and Owen they're at, I guess, odds with one another after the events of the first book. How Owen, he believes he has this fate in him, that he has to fulfill on his own and with his army, and then Zoom comes along and almost tampers with it, and he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna borrow your army. You can have them back when I'm done with whatever I need to do, and I'm not gonna be in your way. Like, and then you have to team up, which we see Owen how he's just like resentful of Zoo, and how he just tries to get away from them and their people, and it's this whole thing that's quite funny. We also see, he was initially betrayed by someone from his army, and how that I guess betrayal kind of fell apart, I would say. We see as long as he's trying to get avenge his brother's death, and how he has taken on this role for working with the Minister of Revenue Services, I think it was, in another province or another place. And how he is kind of, I guess, trying to make the third prince of this area more vulnerable and under his thumb, and how the prince's mother is trying to protect her son, even who she knows is vulnerable and whatnot. And yeah, it's all of these elements, and it's like, so far I'm just liking it. We're just seeing them on missions to really be successful, because with Zoo, with the fact King Zong has eliminated their access to Salt, they need to find a new place to get salt, and they go to this province of Yan, where there's salt and food is quite guarded there, and they're able to take it. And we just see that trying to fight the army protecting the salt mines, and how, I don't know, it kind of reveals their true identity almost, I guess. Well, to Owen, who's unaware, but after the mission, kind of is like, there's something different about you, because Zhu, they were attached to this rope, and Anna was trying to trying to set something on fire, and the rope got caught, and in order for them to get down from the roof of this tall building, they unwound the wrap they use to hide their breasts. So that's kind of, the breasts were still hidden under all of their clothes, but still I'm just wondering if their, I guess, true identity will ever come out to Owen, if Owen will realize they're more alike than him, because they both, I don't even know what it is, but yeah, they're just trying to survive and get to their destiny that they think they deserve, and they've worked hard to achieve. So yeah, and yeah, I think that's all for now. So I'll see you next. So it's the next day, and it was quite a long day. I just had a bunch of errands to run, and I did hang out with a friend for a bit, and I didn't film anything, because I never film when I hang out with friends, because I never think about it, and I like being in the moment. So, and I've mentioned 100 times, I think, on this channel, I don't film when I'm driving, just because I just cannot do that personally. And I have done some reading of He Who Drowned the World, and I'm on page 230, and I'm definitely liking it. I was thinking of which perspective to start on, because a lot has happened. I kind of have forgotten what I said yesterday, but with Biozon, I guess, he is trying to get into the Minister of Revenue's good graces, get him to trust him enough for a mission, and it's like he needs to get his hands on the minister's seal, which is extremely important to the financial of the Yan province, and it's against the laws really for it to leave the minister's possession. And they're busy with a lot of revenue work, and the minister, he has to authorize a bunch of papers, and it's a bit too much for one person to do so. Biosong offers to help, and you see how the minister agrees to help. We see how the minister just seems to care about Biosong, because when the Empress tries to humiliate Biosong and then tries to poison him, the Sword Prince, who is the son of, I think, a courtesan or the mistress of the king, so this is, why not have him beaten 30 times for humiliating us against this powerful figure. And the minister took 5 of those blows, so you see that. And we also see somehow part of the of Biosong's plan is, I guess, to seduce the Sword Prince, because we see how he does that, how he just strips himself and it arouses something in the Sword Prince, and how Biosong, he does need to watch his back, as Lady Ki, who is the mistress, I guess, will do anything to protect her son and ensure that he stays in a position where he'll be next in line for the throne. And we see how consequences, I guess, of her previous actions have affected people, and as she did have a maid to try and flirt with Biosong, to know his preference for people, and then it also just made learn the, I guess, romantic preference of the Sword Prince, and then resulted in her killing this girl. And with Madame Long, she is in extremely hot waters with her husband, and is now in a position where she's no longer really has any power, it seems like. He found out she was having an affair, I guess, with General Zong, his brother, and by someone that's putting posters up all over the city. And I'm imagining I would like to think it's because of the public humiliation that he does this, but it's really hypocrisy in this sort of situation where he's allowed to have courtesans to be with other women, while she's not. And it's really just because, like, if she's to get pregnant, who's the father? So we see how he punishes her, and they call him like Wise King or Wise something, and he goes an extra mile, I would say, and kills his own brother, while General Zong is battling Gorham, Zhu and Owen and really. And with Madame Zong having no power, she was the one who controlled the salt trade, and now that's all in the hands of another providence, so that's also not good for her. And I'm gonna go now back to Zhu and Owen, is that they are trying to fight General Zong, but they're not having success, as he is someone who's extremely powerful, and his army just trust him because, well, they just trust him, like he's a good guy. And they try to find a weakness, and for every man, the weakness is his son, because the son's the one who will be his heir, who will carry on his legacy, his name, everything. And they kidnap the son and use him as leverage, and when they go to meet General Zong for him to put his sword down and for them to surrender, that's when he's killed. And when he has to do, I guess, the bit where he has to kill the son, and he makes the son believe that he killed his father. And I guess this was more of a necessity to prevent the son from coming back for revenge. That's how he'll, declare it. And yeah, we just see, this more of these characters, and it's very plot focused, so I'm not sure how I feel towards them, but definitely what they're doing is questionable. Like, they all have their own goals and their own plans, and it's like how it would come into fruition. So yeah, so far I'm liking how it's all unfolding, and I'm just finding it interesting, and I think that's all for now. I'm tired from today. I was up for like 4 or 5 hours, so I'm gonna lie down, so I'll see you in a... So it's the next day, and I've done some work and whatnot, and I've also done some reading of He Who Drowned the World, putting me on page 308, and I am, my goodness, like, things are happening. I'm trying to figure out which perspective to start off, but might as well. With Zoo and Owen, they're trying to get into Madame Zong's kingdom, province, her reigning city, and by digging a tunnel under the city to get access, and they're somewhat able to do it, but they have to go back because an enemy has taken one of Zoo's cities that they're ruling, and they have to go deal with that, and they also now have to worry about there being a spy in one of their armies, and so they find this correspondence, this letter, and they need someone to kind of decipher it, as it's in a language they cannot really understand. And that person they choose to later on ends up betraying them. There's someone who never really took, I guess, Zhu serious, or because of who Zhu is truly in the gender they were born, that they were meant to be a leader, and they telling the truth about Zhu, and one of later on to join the one that they think will win. This is a person who places all bets on a person they think will win, I guess, Nan. And that's what happens, and yeah, we do get the scene of Owen learning who Zhu is and dancing up as in order to fight Chen Wuling. They need the help of this captain named Fang. Why am I so bad with names? Zhu has a kind of history with, and Fang's like, I don't want to help anyone really, and Zhu, I guess, they had Owen enter this competition and pretend that he's them. And this competition's between women, so someone who's obviously male as well. You know, Owen, he's upset with this because it seems like she was doing this purposely to humiliate him. And as well, because of the fact he was, people don't see him as truly a man because of, well, who he is as an Enoch. And, yeah, he learns this and is upset with you, and it's kind of since then that he would take his army and leave and go what his initial plan was. And you see you kind of be able to have control over him, in a sense. Owen has this thing where he harms himself by like sticking his hands and his nails into wounds while they're healing and whatnot, and Zhu is now the one who's harming him and finding ways to harm him, which, yeah, I'm curious on how that turns out and what will happen to this traitor. And with Biozong, he himself has also betrayed the Minister of Revenue by using Kisio and fortune documents and getting him and the Grand Counselor who had power in this kingdom in trouble, making it seem like they're betraying the Grand Khan, and then really having both of them executed, taking power away from the Empress, and Lady Keeping's giving power to her through. It seems like the Empress also has her own ways of dealing with the Grand Khan, actually fakes or pretends she's being assassinated and then stands up, or maybe there was an actual assassination this time, but anyway, she just get up. So there's that, and as well as him finally, I guess, breaking, I would say, the third prince and having him entirely under his thumb again. Just curious on where that goes, but yeah, so far a lot of betrayal, some that should have been expected, some that, I don't know, it seems like things are falling into a plan that Bio's own had, so I'm curious and seeing that coming to fruition, if it will entirely play out, and really I'm just, again, curious and seeing both these like crossroads intersect. So yeah, the same, I guess, how Zushi, they know that they and Oink are similar in who they are and what they have to prove to the world because of who they are. I mean, with Ryu, they can hide who they truly are, while Oink, he can't. Like, people know who Oink is, they know his story, while with Ryu, they don't know her story, so there's that, and I don't know, I'm just curious if who she actually is will ever come out to everyone. But yeah, and again, a lot of intrigue, so yeah, and I think that's all for now. So it's the next day, and so far I've done some cleaning and whatnot. I finally took down my Christmas tree and just cleaned up that area, and it looks, well, cleaner, so yeah, I like that. And I have done some reading of He Who Drowned the World. Yeah, join me on part 3, which is page 390. And so far I don't know why I keep saying that so far. I'm like, I wouldn't get this far, I wasn't. But we do see how Ryu confronts Chen Luang, and we do get this fight scene, which I swear fight scenes, they just always go over my head because I cannot really, I guess, visualize them well. Like, I can get an idea of what's going on, but I just don't get the full picture, I guess so. And with this fight, we do see Ryu, they won the fight, but they did lose someone extremely important. Oh my word, sorry, I just got stuffy nose for some reason, I don't know. But important to them, someone who's been with them this entire time and has accepted them for who they are, and even and knows who they truly are, is one of the few people who knows who they truly are. And we see how they lose this person, and then we see revolving how he's able to get to Dadu, which is where he wanted to go, and things just seem to get very easy for him when his plan comes into fruition. And we see him kill the Great Khan, which, I don't know, that kind of felt a bit, I guess, anticlimactic, but I'm guessing it was supposed to, because this game and the Great Khan's fall was orchestrated by Arjun, who wanted him there, and I don't know, like, to show like his brother that he is successful and he can do good. And we also then see the fall of Owen and his death, and Arjun realizing that his brother was never there, his brother's ghost was never there. What he was seeing was this illusion that he had of his brother, this memory, I guess, of his brother that was in his mind. And that's where part 3 ends. And here we also see the slow death. The Empress dies from the medicine she was given to during a miscarriage, and it turns out she was never even pregnant, and then the Lady Key is like she's blamed for it. Who I don't really understand. I felt like there was a scene missing when you saw that, but I'm guessing it's because like Lady Key's the only one who had reason for the Empress to die, so maybe that's it. I just don't really understand it. She tries to claim that she didn't give her medicine, but the Great Clone does find medicine in her room and brews it into a tea, and in order to prove it, that might be the reason the Empress died is that the third son brings the tea, and this breaks Lady Key, I guess. I don't know, we just see how... We just learned that he dies, so I don't know, there was just a lot of depth in this husband. Some of it is... I don't know, I feel like it was... I mean, one death after another, I cannot snap it. You get the idea, I hope, but... Yeah, I don't know, the scene of throwing stuff is... I don't know, maybe it might have... Should have been something, but... Again, I just didn't really feel anything. We only see, like... He learns that everything he thought what he was fighting for was in vain, that this wasn't his fate at the end after all. But he thought he was getting he was avenging his family stuff, his father's stuff, but really he wasn't. His father was a coward who pleaded with the Great Khan to give him mercy or whatever. And he was kept in a dungeon this entire time, and this is one step in the chest throwing. As his father looks at him and is like, "You're not my son." No. Yeah, this felt like everything was in vain. I don't know, I just didn't really feel anything for it, unfortunately, but yeah, I'm guessing I'm just intrigued of what part 3 will bring and what Zhu will do next, so yeah, and I should say they were also wrong about who, I guess the spy was in their rings, because they thought it was one person when really it was someone else, so yeah, I'm just wondering if Zhu will allow himself to mourn the death of this person in private, and as I did catch a glimpse of part of the after first sentence in part 3, and it's like they're not allowing themselves to mourn this person publicly by wearing like white, which is mourning clothes from what I understand, so yeah, but again, I'm just curious on how this wraps up, and yeah, I think that's all for now, so see it's the next day, and I've done some work and whatnot, and I also did some reading, and I did finish He Who Drowned the World is Now, and I did like it. I think overall I'm gonna give it 4 stars. We see with Bioshock how he's, I don't want to use the word heartless, but he just doesn't really feel anymore. It seems like he's just a shadow of a person with the way he behaves and the way he acts, and he is ruthless, like my word. He tortures the father of the previous empress and has him steamed alive as his execution, and this is something that takes several days, and my word is hard to say about that. And we see with Madame Zong how, because she worked with him, she got what she wanted. She is the Empress of Yuan. She's the Empress of the most powerful nation, and yet it seems like she's not able to get what she wants from this, as Ma gets involved as Zhu. I guess, asks her to play the role of the consort for the one concert. And Ma's like, you don't need to ask, and don't ask of this of me. It's like, not in a sense like, this is too much for me to handle, but I would do anything for you. You don't need to ask. It's like, similar to Judah, how they both believe that Ju could accomplish anything. They allow her to do what she needs to do in order to get what she wants. And yeah, we just see how the Empress treats Ma terribly, as it seems quite clearly that Baruchang favors Ma over, well, Madame Zong, and as he gave her a hairpin that's supposed to show like this is who the Great Khan favors, and that's what he always asks for Ma every night, and doesn't seem to be coming around to Madame Zong at all. And Madame Zong, like, she does try to, I guess, get Ma into the bad graces of the Great Khan by saying that she's not wearing the pin when she was supposed to, because it's just by being given this pin you're just supposed to wear it all the time and not to take an insult. And yeah, the Great Khan or Barlong's nothing. And we see how Judas puts an end to everything, and she has the opportunity to kill Barjong, but she realizes by killing him, it's repeating a cycle which should end, and instead she takes his the mandate which from him, which gave him power and made him this great figure, and allows him to create a whole new life. Like, well, like with what Shannon Parker Chan did in a bit, is that instead of continuing to call him Barjong, they just continue to call him the man, the boy, whatever. It's just allowing him to have a new identity, to have a new start, and I do like that. And we do see, I guess, the start of this new era, I would say. Yeah, era, which is the Ming era. So, yeah. And overall, I did like what Ma would do for Zhu, and how Zhu realized that there were things she believed that were incorrect with those who, I guess, didn't accept their new fate, or didn't accept that's how what their fate would be, were cowards, and like her birth brother, I would say. I don't even know how to describe the original Zhu Chongpa, but who died without living up to his fullest potential. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed it, and I think my next read will be Keeper of Night, I want to say, by Kylie Lee Baker, which I will probably start tomorrow, and I'll give the synopsis tomorrow. So yeah, but that's all for now, so I'll see you. I did go out today. I just had to run a few errands, do my grocery shopping and whatnot, and yeah, and I did get lucky as I got home before it started to rain, so that's nice. And I did do some reading. As I mentioned yesterday, I was planning to start Keeper of Night by Kylie Baker. The book itself is right next to me. But I did do some reading last night and today, and I'm on page 92. And I I should probably see what this is about first. And this is about a half British Reaper and a half Japanese Shinigami. When Scarborough has been collecting souls in the London streets for centuries, expected to obey the harsh hierarchy of the Reapers, who despise her due to her mysterious mother and even more mysterious Shinigami powers. One conceals her emotions and avoids her tormentors as best as she can. When her failure to control her developing Shinigami abilities drives One out of London, she flees to Japan in search of the acceptance she's never gotten from her fellow Reapers. Accompanied by her younger brother, the only being on Earth to care for her, One enters Omi, the Japanese underworld, to serve the goddess of death, only to learn that here too she must prove herself worthy. Determined to earn respect, One accepts an impossible task: find and eliminate 3 dangerous yokai demons with help from only her brother and a new ally who might be less than trustworthy. One will learn how far she'll go to claim her place at Upside End. Yeah, so far we see how she is this. The book starts with her coming back to, like, I guess, catacombs where the other Reapers live in London after when she's done with her tasks of collecting souls. When she's, I guess, ambushed by 3 powerful Reapers who are just essentially bullies. They harass her and cut off her hair and torment her. And she uses it. One of her powers is that she's able to control light, it seems, and she makes it extremely light. Right, there we are. Oh my god. I'm a bit tired, sorry. Blinding one of them. She is afraid she'll be facing extreme consequences for what she did, because this one of the Reapers has a lot of power when it comes to the higher ups, I guess, and she runs into the quarters she shares with her brother and starts packing her things. And her brother's not her full-blooded brother, but they have brother, as her father had her fishing on me, and it ruined his reputation with the higher ups, and so he married another Reaper, had his son, and anyway, we see how Nevin, One's brother, he's like, I'm gonna go with you, like, they went for the catacombs to get out, and they see the higher ups meeting to discuss what happened and torture one of Niven's friends and information about her. And when they're unsuccessful to find her, the head, I guess, takes a pen in order for her to live as long as she has, and the way she had to write her name in a book, pledging herself to collecting souls, to reaping them. And he crosses out her name, meaning she's untethered to them, and when they find her, they'll just deliver her to death himself, and well, she'll be destroyed. And that's something that scares her, because she is someone who's read on, like, different kinds of mythology. She knows the Christian mythology when it comes to death and all that stuff, but she personally doesn't really see it after death. She just thinks it as darkness is black, and so death scares her. And that's the kind of notification. And she and her brother, they board a ship out of England, 2 friends, and she tells him they're going to Japan. He agrees, and the next thing we know, they're in Japan many months later. So yeah, I'm curious about that. We do get a speech through, I guess, on their journey, which I guess makes sense, because it would probably feel a bit too long if the book talks about the journey to Japan with nothing interesting happening, but still it's felt bit abrupt, in my opinion. And also, we do see how, with the fact when is untethered to death, everything she touches dies. She touches flowers and they turn black. So yeah, I'm curious about that, but so far I'm just thinking this is okay. I'm not like feeling myself attached to the writing, I would say, in this film, or to the story just yet. I just can't really put my finger on what it is, but I do like some things about the book in the sense that when she, because she's half Shinigami, she's not a full Reaper, she's always been treated as another. She's never been fully accepted amongst the other Reapers, she's always been an outsider. And we see how she's been tormented in the past, how, because she exists, has this lowered her father in the eyes of the other Reapers, and how she and her brother, they weren't abused in the way they were given what they needed, but they weren't shown love in any way, and it seems like that's this thing that Reapers don't show their children love. It's just something they have children to show, like they have power and to continue on her lineage like that. And also, when mentioned that her name, it had to be spelled different. The official spelling, the spelling that her mother gave her, R-E-N, that doesn't really, I guess, translate to English or for a woman to have the name. So her name in English is W-R-E-N, and I don't know, there's something about that I like with the fact she did have to adopt this other name for the culture she doesn't fully belong to, and she calls herself, well, one, the R-E-N, and so it is put in the book, and I guess she feels more, or she wants to feel more connected to Japanese foods. I don't know, but I also like how, I guess, curious she is, in the sense she just wants to learn about the different mythologies, about the different beliefs other cultures have when it comes to death, to have a better understanding, and really seems like more of like what the Japanese believe, so she feels more connected to that culture, to that part of her heritage, I guess. And she didn't mention how London, it felt like a place she lived. It didn't feel like home, and what she's looking for is for a place that feels like home to her, so I'm curious if she finds that. So yeah, I do have to say I do like her brother and how she's protective of him and how he just wants to be good, and yeah, I think that's all I have for now, so I'll see you when. So it's the next day, and so far I've done some work and whatnot. I've just done some cleaning, tidying up and whatnot, and I have done some reading of The Keeper of Night Premium page 1. Oh my word. I have a couple of things to look at them. I'm on page 196. And so far I am liking it. I am now in the story, and I'm just liking it. And I just find it interesting to see when just really trying, I guess, finding her place in this world that won't really accept her, because when she arrives in Japan, she is dressed differently to how the Japanese are dressed. Like, the people are wearing kimonos and whatnot, and here she is showing up in Western clothes, I would say, and they just see her as other to them. And when she gets there, the gun goes off, and it's a traditional fishing village, and they're quite well traditionally believe in. And I guess the beliefs in the myths. And this time is like
I guess in between time of night and day where the spirits come. And when a gong goes off, everyone's supposed to just go into their homes and really not go out until the spirits pass. And my word, Nevin and well, no, my word, I'm so sorry for this. They just continue on trying to find the cemetery to like the underworld to Dev's, I guess, castle. And, yeah. And they run into a couple spirits that are in their way. We see when how she's supposedly have slit one of their throats when we learn later on that didn't kill the spirit. And another who I guess is a guardian of the city of the underworld who like, oh, you have to strip your clothes. And actually, I meant you have to strip off your skin. Yeah, there's a from that one by this, I guess, Shinigami or fishing spirit named Haro, who apparently did something that this. He's seen as a disgrace in the eyes of death, essentially. Like, he's looked down upon by other Shinigami. They all call him a leech or treat him terribly. And he's not able to get an audience with death at all. And yet, he is able to get one for one. I kept wanting to say Nevin, but and Death looks at her and is like, "You're not Shinigami. Like, you're not really Shinigami." And this is what one didn't want because all her life in England she's been told she's Shinigami, and yet here's Death telling her you're not Shinigami. So it's like she's not being accepted by either side of her identity. One side that thinks that she's too much of the other side, and the other side is like, you're not enough. But for her, she doesn't have any other options because she's not able to get into the good graces of Ishami, who is, I guess, the deaf representation in Japan. Then she has nothing. She cannot go back to England, otherwise she'll be killed and destroyed. And if she's not accepted here, then she'll have to go live in isolation, and the only person she'll have is her brother, and she can ask him to do that, but knowing him, he'll go along. And each an army gives one, I guess, not task or mission, a task. There we are, where she has to go and find 3 Yokali who have been consuming way too many souls, and we learn that Okali, they're these beings that devour souls, and when they do, it no longer belongs to death. And apparently they're allowed 1,000 souls between them every day, and the rest are hers. And yet, there are 3 that are consuming way too many souls, and it's up to when to stop them. And if she's able to destroy all 3, then she'll get a chance of living in Orami, which is the city of death. And with the help of Hyrule and Evan, she starts her test. And the first is this spirit named Fuki Anna, after who has been freezing people, destroying them, and eating their organs. So that's the first one there after. And it is interesting seeing how, for one, like, she studied all her life, and yet to learn Japanese, to learn how to speak and read it, and yet when she's there, like, the handwriting gets not exactly clear enough for her to understand it properly, and she feels illiterate in as well. The legends she's learned from the books she's read, they were inaccurate in places, and they were more for children, really. Like I guess, essentially Disneyfied version of fairy tales, I would say. Like how fairy tales are quite dark, and yet their faux darkness, I guess, isn't shown or told in the fairy tales that Disney has, made into movies, and how the photo isn't there, and we learn with Hyrule how we don't know why exactly he fell from grace, why death disdains him, but we do learn that he was the son of a fisherman, or he was raised by humans who were fishers, so that's how he's a fishing spirit. But he thinks working with Gwen and helping her will put him into the good graces of Death once more, and I'm very curious to learn really what he did that was so bad that Death disdains him so much, and that she basically allows the rest of the Shinigami to treat him terribly, even for harmony is a big thing in Japan. Yeah, and we also see quite quickly that one finds him attractive, so I'm intrigued on where that goes, and yeah, let's see how the rest of this will go, and if one will be able to find her mother, as well as Shinigami did tell her that the mother was kind of thrown out of Olami because of the fact she laid with a Reaper and had one, so I'm curious if somehow one's mother might be involved in all of this, or if she will find her, so yeah, I have a lot of intrigue. So yeah, I think that's all for now, and as it is Saturday, that also means it's the end of this video. So if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below telling me what you've been up to recently. If you want to, please subscribe to this channel, and if you want to follow me on any social media, then all those links are in the down bar below. I'll see you guys next time I post a video.